Hello! Welcome to episode 6 of my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Amy Nur, and I'm the dyer behind Pancake and Lulu yarn. And this is my 6th episode. So I actually almost didn't record this week because yesterday normally I record on Monday, but I wasn't able to yesterday for various logistical reasons. And so I really probably shouldn't be recording now. This is going to be like kind of a quick episode, I think, because I wanted to stick to my schedule because I think it's really helpful to have a schedule and to stick to it, and to just kind of do it even if you're not sure if you should or if you have enough stuff to show and talk about or what have you. But I guess I felt like that's important, that consistency, for me, just for me. And I have a lot of orders to fill, so I really should be down in my dye grotto, as I call it, because it's in the basement below the kitchen. And I should be down there working, but I thought I'd do a quick episode and then I'm gonna go work. So here I am, and thank you so much again for joining me. And I am going to talk about my finished object. Well, I only have half of a finished object this week, but I do have half of a finished object, so I'm super excited about that. It is one of my, can you guess? It is one of my, I bet you can if you've watched this before. I was gonna put it on my sock blocker. It's one of my Be Mine socks. I did not block this sock. Let me put it on my sock blocker, because one of the reasons I got these sock blockers was these beautiful ones that I got on Etsy, was to show off my socks because I think they look so pretty on there. I was actually a little, I don't know if this is a normal thing to worry about. I did get this sock blocker in my size. I was a little concerned that putting it, I like the way the sock fits a lot on my foot, and I was worried that I might stretch it out because it's very close fitting on the sock blocker, but it does look pretty, doesn't it? I made these socks a little bit tall because I just wanted to keep going. There's a lot of yarn. This is mustache yarn in the Be Mine colorway, and there's plenty of, like, it comes in 2 skeins, so there's plenty. I could have gone on a lot more. I forget if I have, oh yeah, I'll show you how much I have left. So I have this much left of 1 skein. And I could have gone on and made them even taller. Since I'm not that experienced at making socks, I wasn't sure if it would really fit my calf well if I kept going. I thought about making them even taller, and then I also regretted a little bit stopping here because I thought, wouldn't it be pretty? The next part of the repeat is this pretty band. I was like, that would be a really cool cuff. So I'm still actually on the fence about that. I have enough left where I could go back and just take that part out. I'm gonna start the other one because it's a toe up sock. The pattern is by Tanis Fiber Arts, and it's a free pattern called Trusty Toe Up Socks, and I love making them this way. I love the pattern. I'm so grateful that I found it. The other sock that I am working on is, the other pair is a different pattern. It's a top down, and I really like doing it this way. I think it makes a lot of sense because you can try it on as you go. The only thing I'm not sure, maybe I'm going to investigate next time, is a different kind of heel, if possible, to do with. This was an afterthought heel, which I really loved doing with this stripe because it allows you to just keep knitting a whole tube, and then you kind of mark where you're going to do the heel, and then afterwards you come back and do it. And I love that idea. But the heel is a little bit tight on my heel, so I'm hoping it'll wear well. I don't know, maybe it'll be more comfortable. I'm gonna wear these and see how I like it before I decide to try to find a different kind of afterthought heel. I do love the idea, I do love the afterthought part. So that's worth it for me. Anyway, I'm really, really excited that I finished these. This is wonderful yarn. In fact, she just had an update mustache. I'm on the email list, which is very dangerous. So every week I get an email with her latest yarns, and I just ordered another one. I couldn't resist it. So it's coming, and I will show that when it comes. But anyway, this is my one finished object. And I think it counts as a finished object because it's a full, complete object. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this count? I haven't cast on the second sock yet, which is a little dangerous probably, but I think that, I'll just stick that, let me see that there. I think that before I cast on the second sock, since I'm making 2 pairs of socks at the same time, I'm going to finish the first of my other pair, which is the dragon fruit socks, which I've talked about in other episodes, and I only knit a little bit on those. I keep that project in my purse. So I have knit a little bit on it when I just had a few minutes and I didn't want to get out a bigger project to work on. I love carrying that around in my purse. And it'll be done soon. I could finish it. I probably will finish it this week, the first sock of those. So I'll probably have that to show you next time. But I'm going to finish that, and then I'm going to cast on the second sock for my mustache socks. Anyway, I've really enjoyed using the yarn, so much so that, like I said, I just bought another skein of her yarn for later. I think it's more of a fall color for me. Anyway, let's see, that's my only finished object, but I will talk a little bit about, actually, I wanted to wear this sweater and talk about it because this is the garden party sweater from Knit Collage. It was the Knit Collage Spring Make Along, Knit Along from last year. And I joined in last year and did it. I just couldn't resist. I've always wanted to try Knit Collage, and I never had done it before. Let me get up close so you can see how pretty. And it's kind of scrappy. It came with 5, actually I'll put a picture of the kit because I did take a picture of the kit. When the kit comes in the mail, it is so beautiful. It's like so much fun to order the kit because it came with 5 skeins of this wildflower yarn, which is this cotton tape. And then I think it had 2 or 3 skeins of this spun cloud, it's called. And you get to choose from all these different colorways that she puts together, kits that she puts together. And actually they sell out so fast. So if you're interested in doing the knit along, you should get there as soon as possible, as soon as she announces that it's live, because there were colors that sold. I didn't even do the fall one because I thought about doing the fall one, but the colors I wanted were sold out immediately. And I just thought, I didn't really want to make it I didn't want to settle for another colorway. So I just thought, well, it's fine. And it's not a cheap kit either. So you really want to like the colors a lot. I loved being part of the knit along though. That was, to me, the best part. I'm going to give a totally honest review of my experience knitting this. I did have a lot of trouble meeting gauge on the pattern. I think more of my negatives had to do with the pattern than the experience of the knit along or the yarn. I had a lot of trouble meeting gauge, so I had to go down a needle size. And I did a gauge swatch and I blocked it. I did everything you were supposed to do. The swatch, because it was knit in this lace pattern, which is a very open lace pattern, it's very stretchy in different directions. And it was really tricky to even measure the gauge swatch. I blocked it, I measured it. I realized, yeah, I definitely want to go down a size because it was too loose. It was way too stretchy and loose. And I thought, I didn't want a gigantic sweater. I mean, I knit, I think I think it was like small/medium. And I think they're 2 sizes. And I really love the way it turned out. It's a perfect fit for me. It might have been, I'd have to look. It might have been the extra small even. I think I did the small medium because then I was like thinking, since I went down a needle size, it would fit more closely than, it fits similarly to the model, the picture of the model. And I really love the fit of it. It's very loose and fun, not too big. I'll put a picture of myself wearing it in here because it's hard to show. It's hard to show how it fits with the camera set up the way it is, but it is very comfortable. I actually haven't even worn this out in public because it's kind of wild for me around here. I mean, I would totally wear it to a knitting night or a festival of, you know, or something like that. I tend to usually wear my own yarns because I'm usually kind of representing my company. So I like to show off what my yarns look like, but I do love this, and I think I'll wear it around the house, kind of more like a house, kind of fun house coat when it's chilly. My house can be kind of chilly. It's a big old house. And so the swatch was tricky. And it only turned out, like, it was good that I went down a needle size. But then when I went to block the sweater, they kind of have you block it in the middle of knitting it, or before you've knit the sleeves. You have to block it. Because then you're picking it up and you don't want to have to block the whole entire thing, I guess, when it's done. I guess it has to do with the picking up of the stitches. But the measurements were not given in the pattern for what it should be like when you're blocking it. So it didn't have that kind of, like a lot of patterns with a diagram with measurements. So first of all, it was like, well, how do I know how to block it? But then I did track it down. There's a wonderful Facebook group that goes along with the knitting, with the knit along. And I did find that somebody, I think, asked that question. And so the designer's on that too. And so it's great because you can ask questions like that. I thought it was kind of strange that it wasn't included in the pattern to begin with. But somebody asked her and she did answer. And so we found out, you know, what it should have been. But then when I went to stretch it out, when it was wet, I wet blocked it. It was like really, really hard to stretch it to the dimensions that it was supposed to be, which was strange. So it was the most extreme blocking I ever had to do. It was so tightly blocked. And part of that is this yarn that is the cotton tape is not stretchy at all. And I'm not used to working with yarn that's not merino wool. Like that's what I primarily work with, or wool of any kind. So it was very difficult to stretch. It did look beautiful once I stretched it, but I don't even think I could stretch it to the exact dimensions that it was supposed to be. It ended up being fine. I just found it frustrating that it just seemed so off. And part of that could have been that I went down a needle size, but I did do a gauge swatch, so I don't know. It's still kind of mysterious. So that was a little frustrating, though it was wonderful to have the group on Facebook that you could talk to about it. And then the other part that I don't love and that I think I would avoid in the future just personally is I'm not crazy about the spun cloud yarn because it breaks incredibly easily. So when you have to be very, very careful with it when you're sewing in the ends, or when you're, it didn't break while I was working with it, I don't think. But it's just very, very fragile yarn, and I'm not used to working with it. I also don't think it's like the softest yarn. I'm used to working with merino and finer fibers, and this is not like I don't think it's like the highest, or I shouldn't say quality. I mean, it's really beautiful. I just think that it's rougher, smaller, shorter fibers, and so it breaks easily. So you do have to be careful with that. And I know that Knit Collage talks about that sometimes, as she did in this knit along, so she's totally aware of that. And there are a lot of other choices too that they have that are different yarns that you could substitute if you were going to make this pattern, which I do think might be available now. I think she usually releases them about a year after the knit along, just alone as standalone patterns. But the positives of the knit along, the last thing that I had was a problem with binding off. The instructions said to bind off loosely. And when I did that, there was it pulled up hugely where you bind off all along the front edge. It's a nice construction though, because it's pretty much, it's not one piece, but it's mostly one piece. And then you pick up to put on the sleeves. So each of those so there aren't that many seams. But when you bind off this entire edge, it does say bind off loosely, but I bound off very, very loosely, but it still was way too tight and pulled way up so that the front of the sweater was way higher than the back, which is not the way it looks on the picture at all. So I had to take that. At first I thought maybe it's okay, but I didn't like it. I couldn't live with it. So I took out had to take out the whole binding off. And then I did a super stretchy bind off, which I looked up on, I think it was Very Pink Knits, has a great super stretchy bind off tutorial on YouTube. And so I redid that, but because I had already done it, I needed to add yarn, and so that was a little bit frustrating too. But now I was really happy I did do that. And the positives of the knit along, it has great accessible support on Facebook. She's on it. Amy Small is her name, who owns the company, which I think is a fantastic company as well. Like, I really am happy that I was part of it, and I love to support Knit Collage. I think she's wonderful, and I did get a chance to meet her at the Rhinebeck weekend last fall, and I love her company, and it's really it's a wonderful company. So, and she gives great support, and she did great. They has video instructions, several videos that you get along the way. She works really hard to make it where she's accessible and it's simple, and that's why I guess I was a little frustrated with some of the aspects of the pattern that weren't, like, I think could have been a tiny bit better. But that, you know, it's not, she's not even the author of the pattern. So it was a very fast knit because of the size of the needles and the yarn. And the yarn is so beautiful too, just on its own. It's so beautiful, and it was super fun to be a part of it. So that's my experience knitting it. I thought it was, I mean, actually, now that I have it on, it's like, I really should wear it more often. It's fun. I mean, I think the thing about knit collage sweaters is that they are such huge statement pieces that it might be out of some people's kind of daily, everyday comfort zone. But, you know, you should still wear it. That's my advice. You should still wear it. And I should still wear it. And I should take my own advice. Anyway, I guess I just wanted to talk. I have so many things that I've made over the years, and recently a lot more recently too. So I thought, when I don't have a real finished object to show, I will wear something that I've made in the past to show and talk about. I may do another knit along with knit collage. We'll have to see what happens. I think I'm always very tempted to do it. I do like to use my own yarn, but I also get so much out of using other companies' yarns. I think it's an important part of being in this fiber industry, is like to experience other people's stuff too, because I think it all helps you grow and learn. Okay, so now I will talk about my other works in progress. I kind of already talked about the dragon fruit socks, and I talked a little bit about my plans for my next Be Mine Valentine socks. But I do have some progress on my Sorrel sweater, which is actually it's crammed into this little bag that I got. This is one of my stash, well, I guess it's like, what do you call it? Well, it's not really a stashquisition, but it's a new bag that I got. This, I think I alluded to it in one of the other episodes. I had ordered it. It's a Hohe & Co. bag. It's really perfect for like a sock or hat project. It's not really meant for sweater. I have crammed my sweater into it because I just wanted to use it so much. It's so soft. This was from the last update, and I think it's the rose gold color. I feel like it's a lot less rose than I expected, but it's so beautiful. It's fine. It's more like, actually on the tag it said taupe, which I think is a good definition of it, or even sand. But I think this is the color that was supposed to be, I think it was called rose gold. Anyway, it's a gorgeous bag, no matter what color it is. I would like these in any color. I definitely want to get a larger one someday. So, it's so soft. I love this suede. It's just gorgeous. And I like the leather also is very high quality. So that was my little treat. I treated myself to that for Valentine's Day. Just after Valentine's Day, really, because that's when the update came out. But in that bag, crammed in there, is what I've been working on, my Sorrel sweater, which has progressed. I was hoping to get the whole yoke part done before I podcast again. Is this inside out? Yes. But I did not get that far because I've been working on something else. But I'm very excited about this beautiful yoke. It is just so cushy. I love it so much. It's so soft and smushy, and the stitch is fine. Like, it's not my favorite stitch in the world, but it's almost done. I think I'm on row, like, where am I? I'm on round 40. I'm on round 40. The first part has 56. And then I think I might have a few more rounds that are part of these. Like, some of them stop, I think, and then some go on. But I'm gonna be done pretty soon. Anyway, I'm just very happy with the colors. I have not started to use the next color in my progression that I dyed for this. This is the first color that I'm using, along with this navy, definitely navy. And what did I decide to call this? Funfetti. Yeah, I have some of this in the shop. I did not get to dye any of the other colors for the shop. I have my own skeins, and I'm gonna dye, I showed the fade that I'm planning to use for this that I figured out, and I'm going to dye those, but I haven't had a chance because I've just been super busy with dyeing orders, and then now it's my yarn club time. So I've got to this week work on that. So I don't know if I'll have it done this week, possibly before the next time I podcast. So that is my, oh, you know what I wanted to mention about this? My thing that I've noticed about the way that I do this stitch is, I hope it's okay, and I hope it doesn't show up too much. I don't know if you can see. Do you see this long bar here? And then when I stretch it out, you can really see. Next to the stitch, there's like a long bar and then tighter bars. It is the way that I do that first part of the purl. It's like a rib. This is like a rib. And when I rib, I often stretch out the first stitch. I really hope it doesn't make too big of a difference. You can really see on the other side, I was actually looking at the way the stitch looks on the back, which is also really pretty. You can kind of see it too, the way one of those lengths, especially when I stretch it, it's just got I just really hope this isn't that noticeable when it's being worn. I hope that it doesn't stretch out. Oh, I just dropped my stitch marker. Oh no. Yikes. Okay. I just pulled one stitch off, but it's okay. I got it back on. Let me just, what happened is what I do when I get to the end of the round is I always do one stitch from the next round to hold the stitch marker on. And so I've often started, wait, what did I do? I don't think I did that. Here it is. Yeah. So I've got to put that stitch back over. Okay. There we go. So that is my Sorrel sweater, which I've been really enjoying. But I've also been working a lot on a new project that I talked about starting last week. I started my Fantastitch. Last time I said it wrong. I said Fantastitch. And then when I was kept reading the word, I was like, it's Fantastitch. And it's such a great name. Here I was trying to figure out what colors he used in each thing, in each section, in order to figure out my colors, which was so hard to figure out. I knew some of the colors that I was going to use, but then it was just hard to pick 7 colors to go together. Just because there's so many possibilities, not because there's just so many choices that you can have. I find it overwhelming sometimes when there are too many choices. But let me show you what I've done. I did the first couple of little sections, so I haven't gotten too far, but this is what I have so far. It's really fun, as all of Stephen West's shawls. I think all these colors go really well together, but I also wanted to throw in this volt because that just reminds me of Stephen West so much that I think it'll look good once I have some more of it in there. It looks really kind of jarring right now. I actually started this, I got almost this far, and then I changed my mind about this I had a bright orange here instead of this periwinkle. And I was like, I think it was just too much bright. I asked Spencer, my son, and Chloe said she thought it was really cool, but Spencer was like, I think it's way too much. And I just, as I was knitting, I was like, yeah, you know what? I want it to be a little harmonious, a little more harmonious. That yellow is, you know, a little bit jarring, but I think it'll blend together once I've got it all. So my colors are, I dyed up all these colors for it. I'm using a single sparkle for A. Let's see if I can do this in order. This is a brand new color. I'm so excited about it. Actually, I had a request for a seafoam, and I dyed up seafoam. This is on the Surrey, so it's even softer looking. But the seafoam is going to be a new color in my shop because I kind of always wanted to have a seafoam. And this just came out so beautifully. So it's a very pale seafoam. That's the next color. Then this was a one-of-a-kind skein that I had in my shop for sale, and I always loved it so much. It's called Free Fall. It's the slub, and I just decided I wanted to use it. So it's got a little bit of this almost seafoam teal. Excuse my nails. Really need to redo them. I love these colors. So that's the next color. Then I've got this giant, very bright Volt. Looks amazing on the Surrey. These two colors together look amazing. I just think it's like this seafoam and this Volt together are just, I don't know, it's just exciting me. It excites me. And where did I put, oh, I have charcoal. This is actually a Mohair, but I think I'm gonna hold it together with another Surrey that I have in kind of a plum color. I'm thinking about that. That's the next color I have to add to this, so I'll see. And I'm holding together this beautiful Mohair in Lobster Bisque with the leftover bone Surrey from my Love Note sweater. I only have a little bit of this left, so I might only use this. I used this for this part held together, this peachy color. I do think that substituting, at first I was just using this. The Mohair is just a lot thinner and takes up a lot less space than the Surrey, so I think you kind of need, I don't know if you need it, but I preferred the look of the Surrey in this. I preferred the look of the Surrey, so I decided I still wanted this color. I had this leftover and I held them together, and they really worked out well to still create like that Lobster Bisque kind of color. It's like a little paler, but it's still really pretty. So those are my colors, and I'm really into it. It's really fun. I love, especially when you first start a Stephen West shawl and it's small and it's like very fun because you don't get bogged down yet. Not yet, but it's like, it's not so big. So going back and forth, it changes so often. It's super fun. And I'm really enjoying that. I don't want to lose the directions to my sorrel. Okay, so that is, I think that's everything I've been working on, right? Yeah. Oh, I want to just bring some attention to, I'm going to call this section the shiny objects, because these are like every week there's stuff that catches my eye that I'm like, oh, I want to start that. I want to do that. So I was kind of calling them in my queue before, but yes, they're in my queue, but they're also like to me, they're like the shiny objects that distract me. And so this week, what came in the mail, where's my, actually what came in the mail, do I have it in here too? I ordered from Wool and Honey. They sent out an email saying that they had the new Pom Pom Quarterly. And I've been wanting to get it, and look at the sweater on the cover. I think that I have to make this sweater. It is so beautiful. There are so many beautiful sweaters in this issue, actually. I think, to me, this is like the best issue yet. And I've been getting it. I've actually had a subscription for the last 2 years, but then it expired. I thought this was gonna come. I didn't realize that it had expired. And I emailed them and I said, I haven't gotten, actually I emailed them to find out, like, is my subscription expired? And they said yes. And then Wool and Honey said that that I could order it from them. So I ordered this from them because they had that incredible gift certificate that they had sent out around the holidays to everybody. They sent out $25 gift certificate just because they're amazing, wonderful people. And I love them. I did a yarn for them for the Sleeping Bear Yarn Club last fall, November. Yeah, it was a November yarn. Leland Blues it was called, and I just loved working with them so much. I absolutely adore them. I can't wait to someday meet them in person. But yeah, because I had that gift certificate that they sent, so I decided to order the pom-pom, and I decided to order a cute little Wool and Honey pouch, and they included a beautiful little brass stitch marker, which I just decided to tie onto there because it was pretty. And so this is just a nice little pouch. I love the way it zips down all the way too. It's kind of cool. So you can really get into it. Anyway, yeah, that was a little stash acquisition this week. Another one. Anyway, this is like this Joji Locatelli sweater on the cover is so stunning. Look at the close-up stitch. Also the earrings are really pretty of the model. I have to make this. I feel like this is like, it's called Susurrus. I haven't actually read what that means. The model is gorgeous and the earrings are gorgeous and the sweater. I just love the whole look of this. This issue, I think it's curated by, and I should have prepared better. I think each issue has a guest curator, and I don't know. Oh, Ocean Rose, I think is her name, who did this. I'm not sure. I don't know much about her. I'm gonna have to read this magazine, and find out more. This is just such a beautifully curated issue. I want to make like everything in it. It is just, the photos are amazing. This is gorgeous. I mean, I'll show you two of the other things that I can't stop thinking about. This sweater, especially in this really beautiful, I don't know if that's too close. This is a better picture maybe. It's just such an interesting sweater. I really love it with the higher contrast. I think it gets lost a little bit in that color, but that looks like such a fun, interesting project. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the stitch. Actually, it looks a little bit like sort of Sorrel looking. I love the colors of this issue too. It makes me want to do more neutral projects. In fact, it made me I don't know if it was this, maybe it was. I was thinking about with the Fantastitch shawl, it would be so beautiful in just very neutral colors. Really gorgeous. What is the other one? Oh, and I just absolutely love this by Amalia Sieber, I think it is, of Kindred Red. Her sweater is so pretty that she designed. I would love to make that also. And yeah, they're just, I mean, I've never yet made, even though I've had a subscription for 2 years to this magazine, I have never yet made a project from this magazine, but I feel like this has to be the first one on the cover. It's just gorgeous. And what a fantastic issue. And I'm excited to actually read it. I've just looked at it so far, but it's so pretty. Okay, and then I didn't want this to go on too long, but I am really just such a talker, it turns out. So I don't have very much in my shop update section this week because, like I said, I'm working on a lot of orders. I got a bunch of orders so I've got to do a lot of different dyeing. And then I have my March yarn club that I do always in the very beginning of the month. I'm sort of the first week I spend, or the last week of the month before, if I'm really well organized, I start to figure that out and do it. So I have a fiber club, a yarn club, and a mini skein club. So they all coordinate. It's like I choose a color, which is a secret, until my members get their color. So then I will share it. But yes, so I've got to work on that this week. But I did want to highlight just a couple of colors that are in my shop right now that are semi-solid colors that are, I do have a lot dyed up in these colors, so I thought I would highlight them. And I'm highlighting greens because to me, March is month of green. I just think of it always because of St. Patrick's Day and because of spring. And so it's the color of March for me. So the first green I wanted to show everybody is a really popular colorway called Verde Green. This has been in my, I'm gonna turn it this way so you can see it better. These colors are, this color, Verde Green, is such a beautiful green. It's like a gray green, as it's showing up pretty well. It's like, if you think of it as gray, it looks gray, and if you think of it as green, it looks green. It's really an interesting color. So I have this in my shop right now on bulky single. This is the Surrey, which is gorgeous in that. And then I have it on a single fingering, my regular single fingering, but then I also have it on a silk superwash merino. It's 70% merino, 30% silk fingering single as well. And this one has a lot more sheen than this. This is like, I don't know if that's probably not going to show up at all. This is shinier because of the silk, and it's just gorgeous. So I have those. It's also available on any base that I have made to order as well. And the next green I want to show is, this is a one-of-a-kind called Green Therapy. It's on Ply Decay, and I have 3 skeins of this in the shop. And it's just a beautiful, speckly semi-solid, I want to say, because it's really one color, but it's much more of a speckle than my semi-solids usually are. And that's coming up pretty true. It's like a very pretty green. And Ply Decay. And then the last green I wanted to show is, I love this color, it's a very different kind of green, is Green Tea, which is a very yellowy, earthy green. And this is in my shop right now also, but also available to dye on any colorway, on any base. So this is my Ply fingering base I have available right now, ready to ship. Kid Mohair silk, which is very pretty too. And this is the Ply Decay on Green Tea, and this is my single bulky, my very favorite single bulky. I love this yarn. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and get a lot of knitting done, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This is the bulkiest sweater. Actually, that's not true. I was wearing one last weekend. I just cut that whole part. I'll probably